Everyone, today we are going to be making salsa and guacamole. So I have all my ingredients right here. I went ahead and washed the ones that needed to be washed that we're not going to peel. Make sure to always wash the produce that you don't plan to peel before you use it. So I've got some tomatoes, I've got a green pepper, a jalapeno, a lime, some cilantro, some salt, a red onion, some avocados, and some garlic. I'm going to start by making the salsa first. So for the salsa, you'll need the tomatoes, onion, salt, garlic, lime, cilantro, and jalapeno. So you'll just want to go ahead and cut your tomatoes, with assistance if you need, into small pieces, probably about that size. So I went ahead and cut up all of my tomatoes and into pieces like this. Some people prefer to take the seeds, I like to call them the guts, out, and some don't. I like to take them out because it makes it a little less runny. Because tomatoes are very watery, as you can see by all this liquid, and I want my salsa to be nice and chunky. Next, I'm going to peel and cut the onion. I'm only going to use about half of this onion, maybe even less. I ended up using half of an onion, so about this size chunk, and my pieces, some were bigger, some were smaller. Add some garlic. So I realized that I never cook with real garlic on, well, I cook with real garlic, but not a garlic head when I'm making my cooking videos. So I wanted to get a fresh one today so I can kind of show you guys what it looks like. So this is a garlic bulb. You want to break it into the pieces, and it's very fun to break. It's kind of like an onion where it has that shell on it, or outside film. And then you've got this nice, really tight skin on this part. So you want to get the skin off. You can use a garlic press if you have something like that. I don't have one of those, but I like to just cut it and then peel it kind of like I do an onion. I realized that I'm still crying from chopping those onions. That is a fun fact about onions, is that they make you cry sometimes when you chop them. Normally they don't really make me cry, but today they definitely did. Not sure why. So when you peel it, it kind of looks like that, nice and smooth and shiny. So I'm going to use about this size. Actually, I'm going to use half of this so that it's kind of garlicky, but not quite too garlicky. So I would use about half that size, and I'm going to chop it up very, very, very small. I'll show you before I toss it in the bowl. And I diced it, so about that size. It's actually called mincing, which means to chop very small. So I'm going to use this amount and put it in here. So you don't need a whole lot. I sliced my bell pepper in half. So I'm going to use probably about a half of this bell pepper because I really like pepper. And I like to clean out this white seedy part so that I just get this nice meat of the pepper, the green part. So I'm actually going to use about half of a half, so a quarter. And I wanted to point out this this part of the pepper. I've always thought that this was so cool. It's like, it kind of looks like plastic wrap. It's see-through, but you can eat it. It just is part of the pepper, part of its membrane. In the green pepper, and you can also use any kind of pepper you like. So you could use green, red, yellow. You don't have to use green pepper at all, but then you want to choose a pepper that has a level of spice. So jalapeno is what's typically used in salsa, but if you want a spicier pepper, you could research those and find one at the grocery store. I'm sure if you asked someone at the grocery store, they would help you find a spicier pepper like a serrano or a habanero, but I'm going to start with a jalapeno, and I'm just going to cut and use probably just this much of it, and definitely take out the seeds so it's not too hot, but there's a little kick. So the seeds of the jalapeno are what makes it hot. So if you leave the seeds in, it will be spicier, but if you take them out, it will be more mild. And then I have previously rubbed my eye while cutting jalapenos. Do not do that because it will, the oils from the jalapeno will get in your eye and it will make it sting very bad. If you do accidentally get the juice in your eye, immediately go and wash your eye out with water. So splash water in your eye, have a parent or guardian or staff help you out because it is very painful. Next is my favorite part, the cilantro. So cilantro is actually something that some people don't like. They try it and it tastes like soap in their mouth. Other people, such as myself, love cilantro. So cilantro is a plant that can be grown in an herb garden. So you could grow it here in Ohio, and it has leaves that look like this. I'm trying to get it to focus. Well, you see them. So I want to chop this up as fine as I chopped the garlic and then put it right into my salsa. I also am going to try my best to get all of the stems out. It doesn't really matter if you have the stems, but I personally don't really love them. Then I've put my cilantro on there. You're going to squeeze some lime juice on there to taste. So what to taste means is, it means if you like a lot of lime juice, squeeze a lot. If you like a little bit, only use a little bit. So I like a lot, so I'm going to use this whole half of the lime, and I'm just going to squeeze it over it. Ow, it squirted me. The next step is to add some salt to taste. So I just want a little bit of salt. I'm going to mix this all up. This is what your delicious salsa will look like. But I'm going to take mine a step further and blend it so it's nice and smooth. I actually never blended my salsa before, but I've seen a lot of people do it, and they just put it in their blender. My blender, you may have one of these, you may not. You may just have one of the ones that you press the buttons on, but I'm just going to blend it. Until it is smooth like that. So it looks a little different because the pulp of the tomatoes makes it look pinkier and creamier, but I promise it will settle out and it will be so delicious and red. So now that I've made my salsa and it's in the fridge getting nice and crispy, I'm going to start making my guac. So guacamole is made of avocados, so this is an avocado, and when you cut it, like this. So some avocados have big pits, some have small, and this is the pit. And you can't eat the pit, but you can eat the nice creamy stuff around it. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop that out of the 4 avocados I have and put it into this bowl. Now that I have scooped out the creamy part of my avocados, I'm going to go ahead and mash them. So you can mash it however, I'm using a fork, and you can mash it however chunky or however smooth you want. I like mine pretty smooth, so I went ahead and mashed it really well. There are still a couple couple chunks in there, but nothing too big, and for the most part it's smooth. Next, I'm going to add all of the ingredients that I added to the salsa. I'm going to add the same amount of onion, the same amount of jalapeno, same amount of cilantro, a half of the lime, and then some little tomatoes. Tomatoes, cilantro, pepper, onion. So I stirred it together, and now I'm going to add some lime juice, half of a lime again. Now I'm going to add some salt to taste, salt. All together, and then I'll put it in the fridge for a little bit to get really nice and cold before serving. Now, I went ahead and put the pit of one of the avocados in the avocado to keep it staying fresh for a little longer so that I can enjoy it. Thank you guys for joining me today, and keep on sending me recommendations for recipes. I cannot wait to see how your guac and salsa turn out. Delicious.